This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Rob, and I'm the host of The Curated Culture, a weekly podcast dedicated to dissecting the latest and greatest news from around the world of tech and pop culture. Now, we all know the internet can be a busy, noisy place, so let us calm that noise for you. Join us as we discuss the latest and greatest topics from the people and sources that matter most. Check us out every Thursday as we jump into fresh, original content, new interviews, and a host of other subjects that we know you'll find interesting. So jump in to whatever your favorite podcast app is and search The Curated Culture. Make sure you subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode. And in the meantime, we'll catch y'all on the air.
Hi, and welcome back to Realistic Sustainability Educational Shorts. This week, I'd like to talk about Martin Luther King Jr., since, well, his day is coming up on January 17th. And you may wonder, why are we talking about an activist, someone who has spent their whole lives focused on civil rights and equality? Well, that's not the only thing Dr. Martin Luther King did. Now, yes, we remember his actions, remember his marches, and we remember his speeches. It was these actions that, well, not only moved the United States forward in human equality, but also cost him his life. Beyond that, it led to civil rights acts, like in the one in 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. These are all monumental. These are all huge. But they're not the only thing Dr. King did to help people. Yes, his focus was on race equality, but there were other factors to the movements he had that really helped in a sustainability way. So I don't want to minimize the things we remember him for. I want to add to that and remind people and honor the man who did more than just that. I want to show some appreciation on the sustainability side. Although human rights, civil rights, all of those things are part of sustainability because it's a part of social justice. One of the last fights that Dr. King was engaged in was in Tennessee, where he joined sanitation workers, protecting them from pollution and hazardous work conditions. This was one of those major moments in history where Dr. King tied social justice, which he was so passionate about, with environmental justice. This was one of those moments where the world changed in how they thought about things, and how environmental action and social justice are really all together tied together. Dr. King paved the way for environmental justice. He paved the way for a lot of the upcoming acts. Remember, it was the mid to late 60s where a lot of these social justice moments happened. And shortly after, my favorite photo, which is Earthrise in 1969. These are multiple things that reminded people that, first of all, we are all people and that we were on a lonely, independent planet. So it was a lot of these actions that led to the 70s. The 70s where we saw the Clean Air Act or the Clean Water Act or the Endangered Species Act. It was during this time we started to protect Earth, not just one group of people. And that is where I look at it. The importance of tying social justice to environmental justice that is still noticed to this day. When bills are passed, when discussions are had, it is some of the same discussions and arguments Dr. King brought to the table so many years ago. So when we look at something like the Green New Deal, it is on the foundation of equality, the same foundation Dr. King brought to the table in the 60s. It was Dr. King who helped shine those spotlights on those racial divides and how environmental impacts can happen from those divides, and vice versa. How that when we start dividing things ecologically, how it hurts one segment or another of humanity. There will always be a few people, at least a few, that will search out reasons to discredit Dr. King. But remember, he was born an unknown man, and he died a social justice hero. What happens in the middle is life. He used his life to the betterment of others, and no one can take that from him or tarnish that. So today, let's just take a moment and think and celebrate January 17th for Dr. King. Thank you for listening to this short. I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, I'm not running quite as long as I usually do, but I definitely still wanted to get a new short out there for us today. So if you'd liked this short, please share it with a friend on social media or just to a friend individually. If you like this episode, share it on social media or with a friend. You can still support Realistic Sustainability by becoming a monthly supporter or sustainer on our Anchor hosting site, or just by leaving a 5-star review. It doesn't matter which podcast platform you're on. Leave a review, click a like, whatever you can do to show interaction on the site. That would be fantastic. We greatly appreciate it. And it helps search engines know that we're out there and that people like us. So thank you again for listening. And remember, we only have to get a little bit better each day. Little bit, big bit. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.